What's going on, everyone? My name is Patrick Jang. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over exactly how I prepare my favorite meal for fat loss. This is going to be the main meal I'm going to be eating throughout my fat loss phase, and it's helping me lose weight so far. It's pretty straightforward, and it tastes really good even after you microwaved it. You might have seen it before in a previous video, but I thought it'd be nice to share. I'll also be going over my new training split from Renaissance Periodization, which is not really a new training split. It's just like a modified version of what I was running previously, as well as going over my weight loss progress so far. My goals for week 2 and week 3. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, so if you watched my previous video with the 5 best pieces of fitness advice I can give you in your fat loss phase, you would know that I plan, track, and weigh out all my foods. Typically the day before, I'm already planning my meals for the next day. So for today's meal, for instance, I have 20 ounces of ground bison, 170 grams of spinach, 1 serving of shrimp, 270 grams of white rice, and then I put in my multivitamins and my fish oils, my fiber supplement, as well as my 2 scoops of whey protein. So everything's already calculated in. I already see my total caloric intake. I just check my nutrition to see if I hit all my macros correct. And you know, for the most part, it's pretty much spot on. I can see that my carbs are a little high, but that's where the step count and increased activity comes into play. If you're very active throughout the day and using up all those carbs, you'll still be in a caloric deficit. So you just got to be very diligent with your cardio and your overall activity throughout the day. So this next step I usually do the night before. I usually cook my rice the night before, so I don't have to worry about it the next day. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I would do it step by step if it was the night before. So the next step is to cook the rice. All right, and 270 on the dot. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is wash this rice until the water is clear. As you can see, this is the second wash and it's still pretty cloudy. You want to run it about 4 or 5 times till it's like pretty clear, or clear enough to where you can see the grains. The rice I'm using is going to be sushi rice. I used to use jasmine rice, but I made the switch recently and I find that I like this a little more. Not to say that jasmine rice is bad, but you kind of just use whatever you prefer, except long grain enriched rice. Don't trust anyone that eats long grain enriched rice. Funny story about how I discovered long grain enriched rice. And Josh Molino, if you're watching, I'm about to put you on blast. Back in college, I used to live with him and a few other of my housemates, and we ran out of rice one day and we had him go buy rice from us at Safeway. He comes back with a huge bag of long grain enriched rice, and mind you, I've never had it before. So we made a whole rice pot cooker of it. We tried it. Tastes like straight cheese. So pro tip, don't trust anyone that eats long grain enriched rice. See here, water is noticeably clearer than it was before. This is about the 5th wash, so you should be pretty good to go once it reaches this stage. The amount of water you use to cook your rice, you use the finger technique. So what the finger technique is, you take your index finger, and once your index finger touches the surface of the rice, the level of water should hit like the first knuckle of your index finger, and then that's how you know you have enough water for your rice. And typically what I'll do is, if I'm prepping this for meal prep to microwave later, I put a little extra water to make my rice a little wet, because when you microwave it, the rice tends to dry out a little bit. But if your rice is already a little extra wet, after you microwave it, it'll be perfect. And I kind of like my rice a little wet. I'm all for it being a little extra wet. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is pop this in the rice cooker and then move on to step 2. The next step, obviously, while your rice is cooking, is to prep all your meat and vegetables. So what I'm gonna do here is cook my ground bison and my spinach together. I did goof it though. I forgot to thaw out my bison yesterday. So you can still cook it from frozen, but it's just gonna take a little bit longer. So in a pan with a little bit of cooking spray on a medium to low heat, cook your bison all the way through until you don't see any more pink. And if there's a lot of bison meat juice in there, don't worry, you're gonna use all of that. Once you have your bison all the way cooked, throw in your spinach, toss it a little bit. The spinach will absorb all of the liquid and it won't be a sloppy mess later on. And at this stage, you can go ahead and put in all your seasonings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in my black pepper, my cayenne pepper, garlic salt, and a little bit of dried chopped onions just for a little bit of flavor. Cook that for about another 30 to 45 seconds. You don't want to cook it too much because overcooking spinach will make it a little bit bitter, especially if you're gonna microwave it later on for meal prep. So you just want to cook it until it begins to wilt, and you got to be really quick in this process because it goes real fast. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can portion it out in individual Tupperwares. And that's pretty much how I prepare my meal prep for work or for just the day in general. So we have the finished product here. The whole process was pretty straightforward. The entire cooking time took about 15-20 minutes, and it probably would have been faster if I had defrosted my meat properly the night before. But hey, you can still do it even if your meat's still frozen. It just takes a little bit of time. So if you have about 20-25 minutes in the early part of your day, you can prep your entire meals for the rest of the day. So what I would do here is, if I were to prep this for work, I would let this cool off completely, pop the top on, throw it in the fridge, and then take it with me the next day if I needed to take it with me to work. Obviously today I don't have any work, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is eat about half this portion 1 hour prior to training, and then save the other half for after I finish working out. The great thing about this method is if you need to cut back on carbs as you get deeper into the cut, or if you hit a weight loss plateau, all you have to do is go back to MyFitnessPal, reduce the portion size of your white rice, repeat the same entire process again, but weigh out a little bit less rice next time. Then you can continue hitting your weight loss goals with relative ease. Got about half portion left, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is save this for later after training. What I'm gonna do now is sip on this water, catch up with a little bit of water because I am a little bit behind on my half gallon and it's almost 4. And then I'm gonna digest for about an hour, and then Darren and his brother are about to come over and we're about to hit a lower body session. So I'm probably gonna get my steps in for the next hour while sipping on water, just get hydrated and be active at the same time, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So this next part of this video, I already do have some training footage from earlier in the week from our pull day, and I'll be going over in a commentary style, just touching over why I decided to go with a Renaissance periodization training template, and go over my week 1 weight loss results, week 2 weight loss targets, and my weight loss goal for week 3, and maybe some other miscellaneous things, so stay tuned for that. So I just want to give a quick shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for always watching, especially everyone who leaves a comment. I just love interacting with you guys. It makes it fun. Gives me a hobby to do in this quick little quarantine thing. You watch my videos, Ivy?
I do.
But do you leave a comment and like?
No.
Why not? Man. Yeah, I just want to make a quick little shout out before I jump into this little commentary. You guys are awesome. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, let's go straight into the commentary. So the reason why I went with a Renaissance periodization training template was because I really just wanted to have one less thing to worry about during this fat loss phase. My thoughts were I wanted to get in and out of this fat loss phase as efficiently as possible without having to delay it any more than I need to. And I figured having one less variable to worry about would help me focus more on the other aspects of this entire fat loss phase, which would be just nutrition and cardio. And I've been really enjoying Renaissance periodization's free content on YouTube. They've been killing it with all the knowledge on just fitness, fatigue management, how to set up macros and training splits and all whatnot. And I figured it'd be nice to just show my support by purchasing their template. I also really just wanted to mix things up a little bit because the progression I was using for hypertrophy before was double progression, more like a RPE style base for hypertrophy. So it starts off the volume very low, almost 2 sets for every training day, and it has me like start off with about 3 reps from failure, then it ramps up to 2 reps from failure, then 1 rep from failure, so on and so forth. So far I'm enjoying it a lot. It really just helps me, you know, focus even more during training because I really have to make those 2 sets count, and we're not really just trying to go through the motions. Every rep has a specific purpose. Not to say I wasn't really completely focused beforehand, but now it's like even more emphasis on quality reps because you only have 2 sets to actually, you know, put in the work, whereas like you could probably get away with it if you were doing 3 sets for your first set, and then like you can kind of just focus on your second and third. But then like having that first set be just junk volume kind of just builds up systematic fatigue that you don't really need. It's not beneficial for you in the long run. Yeah, those are the main reasons why I wanted to go with a training template this time around. And moving on to my weight loss progress so far, I knew that during week 1 all the initial weight loss was going to be just water weight. So I started off 188 pounds, ended week 1 at 180, so that's about 8 pounds of water weight loss. So you know, that's pretty normal. The target weight loss goal for week 2 was to get to 178.5 ideally, but if I got to like 179, like I would have been okay with it. And I got pretty close to that target. So I figure what I need to do is really just increase my activity a little bit more because I'm getting about 10 to 20,000 steps per day. So I'm probably going to sprinkle in throughout the week, maybe like 3 or 4 sessions of just some treadmill or some air bike, just to increase my overall caloric expenditure to actually put me in like a slightly deeper deficit, but not too much to where I can't recover and it'll affect training. So I'm really just carefully monitoring that and, you know, weighing myself at the same time every day, tracking all the data. I'm just like laser focused on all the small details just so I know how to adjust. And I hope by sharing all this info to you guys about how I'm going about this process, you guys can kind of learn and kind of just try to follow along and do it yourselves, because it's not too hard to lose weight. It just takes a little bit of effort and discipline. That's gonna be it for me for this week. Hopefully we'll be back next week another 1.5 pounds lighter. If not, changes will definitely be made, whether it be more cardio or less food, but we won't know until next week. Thank you guys for listening to my commentary, and see you in next week's video. Post-workout meal here. I got the rest of that bison rice meal that I showed you guys earlier. So I'm about to eat this and chill. About to watch UFC 257 with the boys. We're about to watch Poirier versus McGregor. I got my money on McGregor to win this fight. Let me know who you guys got in the comments below. So that's gonna wrap up the video here. Thank you guys as always for supporting, watching. I love and appreciate all y'all. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know you're live, and I'll see you guys in the next video. 1.5 pounds lighter.